What's up, guys and girls? Welcome back to another video. Today, talking about Journey Together. It's been out a couple months now. People's opinions about it seem to be pretty well entrenched, and that's that they don't like the set. They think the set is garbage, that it's terrible, they don't want it anymore, they would rather just not even buy it if it comes available in Pokemon Center. So yeah, we're gonna dive in and talk about Journey Together today. First, if you do enjoy the videos, be sure to like and subscribe, helps me out a ton. I think like 80% of people are not subscribed, so if you could help me out a ton, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. But yeah, let's get into it for sure. Now, Journey Together released in March of this year, just came out a couple months ago, like 2 months before Destined Rivals, right after all the prismatic hype, and man, oh man, was Journey Together hyped to no ends. Everyone was super excited for when this thing was first coming out. Oh my gosh, Pokemon trainer cards are coming back at the first time. We're gonna get a Lily card again for what feels like forever. This set is gonna be hyped to no end. It's got an N card, it's got all sorts of stuff in it that we'll never be able to live without. And then it came out and people were like, oh, this is really fun. The hit rates were really good. The cards in them were enjoyable. People liked them. And then it came out and just kind of was People were like, oh, it's fun. It was cool to open, but I'm not super into it. People were kind of like, I'll just wait out till Destined Rivals, or they completed their master sets because it was a smaller set and they were just like, all right, well, I'm done with this. Time to go into Destined Rivals, which is the more hype, bigger set. And, Journey Together was just kind of forgotten about. People kind of moved on relatively quickly. Now, price point wise, these are, still above MSRP. Like, they are expensive. I think an ETB is like 75, 80 bucks just to be able to buy one, which, is pretty expensive for a set that seemingly nobody wants anymore. Now, from personal experience, I've been in these restock Discord groups and things like that, like Poke News, and whenever there's like a restock of Journey Together, every single time to no ends, I see people going, I'll pass. I'm cool with it. I'll never mind. I've got up for nothing on Pokemon Center. They do not care. Now, maybe that's because they're just trying to resell, or they have all their cards already and they don't really need anything else from Journey Together. It could be for a variety of factors that I'll probably dive into here throughout this video. But from this experience, I see that Journey Together is just not a well-liked set. People can have all the cards they want from Prismatic, but they're still going to open it because the chances of them hitting a God Pack are just so crazy low. But if they do, it's like $4,000. But Destined Rivals, you got the $400 Mewtwo. Journey Together doesn't have any of that. It has, $130 Lily's Clefairy. Like, it's not even that expensive anymore. Like, it's just kind of a cool chase card, but overall, it's not like super expensive. It's expensive out of the gate, and then it's just straight downhill since release. It hasn't gone back up at all. It's kind of steadied, I think, at the 130 mark. But if this market goes downhill, Lily's Clefairy is gonna go downhill even more. If this market were to crash, I would see Lily's Clefairy being like $60, $70. I just don't think it would hold up very long. But yeah, Journey Together, from this anecdotal evidence, it's just not a super well-liked set. It was sandwiched in between two heavy hitters, and overall, I think it's just, people's sentiment about it is just not all there. People don't enjoy it a ton. One big reason, like I mentioned earlier, that the set is just not super well liked is that resellability. I know people kind of frown on that, and scalpers and all that, but if a lot of scalpers didn't buy this set out and it wasn't just bought out by bots and stuff like that online, I honestly believe Journey Together would sit on shelves. If we were not in the current boom we are, where everything's bought out all the time, Journey Together would sit on shelves. Nobody would care about it. Nobody would want to open it or go out of their way to try and buy Journey Together. It's just, it's just how it is. It's the only reason there's even any demand for Journey Together is either from resellers reselling back and forth, or just trying to sell their stock. They find a MSRP and they're trying to make their $5 and be like, oh, I made some money. Or it's from people who are like, oh, investing in it, in which case it's the lowest. That and Shrouded Fable are both kind of like the lowest rungs on the totem pole for popularity. But people aren't super enthusiastic about it long term. Even then, with investor groups, if you check any of those investing group chats or Reddits or anything like that, they're not super high on Journey Together. They're like, oh, it'll be out for, I talked about it, it'll be out for 3 years, it'll be reprinted. It was the start of the new block for Pokemon, and it's going to be reprinted for the next 2 to 3 years for sure. It's going to be around for a while, and while its popularity isn't super huge, so I don't think Pokemon will get around to reprinting it as much as Destined Rivals. It will still see at least probably 1 or 2 reprints. It just makes sense for Pokemon to just try and go back and maybe get some of these sets that are going to be in print for a while, especially if once the hype dies down and they're able to start really tackling this problem. It just makes too much sense. Now also, I've talked about price, resellability, all sorts of stuff like that, but I haven't talked about the cards yet. Let's go ahead and dive into them real quick. Obviously, starting up first, the Chase card, Lily's Clefairy. Now this is obviously pretty hyped card. A lot of people were wanting it at first, and then I think the price has kind of just gone downhill because people realize they don't really care for it. They don't really like Clefairy as a Pokemon. Lily's cool, but trainers were kind of the first thing people are like, I don't really care about this. So Lily's Clefairy hype died down. The Salamence card next up, also really cool card. I think that has some longer term potential because it doesn't have a trainer in it, so people are more likely to be inclined to enjoy it. Some of the other cards that, you know, are heavier hitters in the set, the Enzorwork, I think these are really cool. I think the gold cards, the hyper rares for these cards, all look super cool. It's the first one with trainer Pokemon back. I think the gold etching on them looks pretty cool. So, you know, if you're looking for a play, maybe those, if it's super cheap prices, not a bad pickup. But, you know, you got Enzorwork, SIR, you got the, what else do you have? You have the Hopzation, both of which I think are really cool. The Whale Lord looks sick. Articuno looks really cool. En's Reshiram, I think, is a fantastic looking card. That was one of my favorite cards. I actually ended up pulling it. But overall, the cards themselves are not bad. The problem is the set is small, so the hit rates were good. So if you're pulling an SIR, you're probably pulling a Chase card possibly because there's only so many SIRs that can be in the set. Set's smaller. So overall, I think that also leads to increased availability of the singles themselves because it's a smaller set. So if you're pulling an SIR, like I said earlier, you're going to pull one. But I think that also leads to people just not caring about the set because once they pull the Chase, they're like, oh, I don't really need to open this set up anymore. So, you know, even though they might like the cards, I just think overall in the longer term, the cards are readily available per se in this market. So people aren't as enthusiastic about them. And I think that's leading to the cards, you know, dropping in price even more so than regular singles are compared to like something like Destined Rivals, which is, you know, they've dropped in price, but they're kind of, you know, steadily or decreasing slower than it seems like Journey Together has. And lastly, I guess I'll kind of just talk about investability. I've kind of briefly talked about it in some of the other points, but investing in Journey Together, I think it's pretty safe. Like, obviously, I think this is the set if, like, besides Shroud of Fable, if the market were to have a downturn, this set would be under MSRP. This would be a $30 ETB if it wasn't in the current market. Let's be real. You'd find these at $20 and nobody would blink twice about it. Now, saying that, I do think people should be careful buying in at these increased prices. Now, if you find it at MSRP, realistically, there's not really a downside unless just the entire market collapses. So you can't really be upset about that, but if you're buying it above MSRP for stuff like Journey Together, you do need to be careful, especially at booster boxes. There's two different types, so you have to be careful. If one gets reprinted and the other one doesn't, maybe you have the wrong one and then you end up losing some, so I would just be careful. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Check out the Discord, like I said earlier, if you could like, subscribe, help me out a ton, but let me know what you guys think about Journey Together. I honestly think it's a pretty cool set. Personally, I love the Whalelord card and the En's Reshiram. Those are my two favorites. Articuno is pretty cool too, but yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. Appreciate y'all.